Okay, and we are live. Welcome back, ladies and gents, where we have a crisis meeting going on right now in the EU, the European Union, which is really quite strange, actually. And I'll tell you why and how this has all come about with Viktor Orban, and he's flown to Moscow, and the EU have just gone absolutely, they've gone into absolute meltdown about this meeting that took place yesterday. So you'd think, well, why are they having this crisis emergency meeting, whatever you want to call it, today? And well, we'll get into that as to what was actually, the whole purpose of the meeting and everything else. But it is, again, one of these really weird things that defies logic as to what is going on. Just before that, real quick, just a reminder that the Cashflow Mastery Program is now out. It launched on Monday of this week, and I just released module 4. So you've got another, I don't know, dozen to 15 videos. It just came out today. So if you've already got the program, if you log into your account, you can watch these new videos. They are there, ready, available for you today. If you haven't got the program yet, you can find it below in the description, or it'll be in the pinned comment. And just a reminder, while the course is being recorded, it's not a $2,000 course, it's a $199 course. 2 payments are $99 or 4 payments are $49. I can't do better than that. Just a quick thank you. Angela T has just enrolled, Andrew D, David H, Ron K, Mark A, Stuart. I mean, we could go on all day with all of this. But let's jump over now to what is actually going on, because this is all kicking off, as the South Africans would say, kicking off. Viktor Orban arrives in Moscow to meet Putin despite the outcry. So this happened yesterday, the meeting, but today is the EU crisis meeting. So there's actually 2 things going on here. So the Hungarian PM said he will not negotiate on the EU's behalf after European leaders warned him he does not represent them. Now, why is this a little bit strange? Well, we'll find out in a second. Viktor Orban arrived in Moscow on Friday to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin, defying European leaders who had warned him he had not that he didn't represent them, they didn't want him to go. But of course, you can't exactly stop the man from going. Now, this is what he said he has gone for, and everyone's been talking about. He said, as part of his peace mission, Viktor Orban has arrived in Moscow. So that is what it is. There's a lot of rhetoric going on, and all sorts of, in fact, there's not much coverage on it because they obviously don't want a lot covered, but there is a couple of fringe coverage on it, and they're just talking absolute nonsense. Oh, he's going over to sort of talk about an alliance and all this other stuff. No, he's not. He's going over to talk about peace plans. That is what is being said here, and I've never heard anything other than that whenever he's had these meetings. But of course, you will hear all sorts of wild stories about this. But on his way to Moscow, Orban acknowledged he was not representing the EU after several leaders on Thursday warned that he was not mandated to speak on their behalf. So a bit intense. It seems a little bit over the top, don't you think, for a peace meeting where he's going to try and discuss peace and see if there's any movement now. And actually, although it might seem strange, this is quite normal to do things like this, especially in times of war, because sometimes leaders get worn down. I can't really see this with Putin, to be honest. And by the way, I don't want to see all these comments just because I talk about Putin or I talk about Zelensky or anyone. I have all these ridiculous comments. Oh, he's a Zelensky lover. He's a Putin lover. I'm just reading and telling you and analyzing what is going on. Okay, so before we get all these ridiculous comments coming in, I'm not a lover of any. I prefer there was peace in the region. But this is actually what is going on here at the moment. He told state media on Friday, adding that he would inform the bloc's leaders whether there was an opening for peace talks, which he admitted was still a long way off. Sorry, I lost my trail of thought there, thinking about all the comments that come in. But Yeah, what tends to happen in times of warfare is that leaders eventually, they do get worn down, and we've seen this a lot. They get worn down, they start to see they're losing large amounts of troops, or the GDP is crashing, or you look at World War II, a lot of the factories were bombed, and there's a lot of things that would happen which eventually wear people down. So it's not unusual to have a meeting like this to see if there's any movement now, to see if we can get to peace in the region. So for the EU leaders to have this crisis meeting, to go absolutely crazy, I'll read some of the statements about this peace talks, it doesn't make any sense. It defies logic. You would think with some of these comments that they want this to continue. A bit suspicious. They said he's not representing the EU in any form. The European Council President, Charles Michel, criticized Orban on Thursday, saying in a post on X that the EU rotating presidency has no legitimacy to speak for the bloc. Who is Orban at the moment, by the way? He is the rotating president of the EU, in case you weren't aware of that. They don't really talk about the fact that he is. A political analyst with German Marshall Fund said these first few days had already shown what the EU can expect from Hungary's 6-month presidency. Disruption, instability, and trolling. What? Okay, sure. Next comment. The Moscow visit is being framed as an endeavor by Orban to mediate Russia's war of aggression in Ukraine, but no one sees the effort as sincere or legitimate. Again, a very strange comment. Next comment. Orban might use and abuse the rotating EU presidency to sow confusion and cause significant symbolic damage to EU foreign policy, while in advancing the interest of Russia and the West other liberal rivals. I mean, it's really strange that they're saying all of this stuff. Now, another thing that has just come out is all about, and this is really bizarre. I made a Patreon video on this yesterday. I was talking about what has actually happened with Russia's economy and their GDP. They have removed, if you look on the data sites, they've removed Russia from the rankings. The reason why is because their GDP has exploded at the moment. And this is why I saw a lot of people leaving comments saying, Neil, I don't understand. What do you mean war is good for a GDP and an economy? I wasn't saying war is good. I was saying war is good for GDP. We're looking at it purely mathematically on numbers. We're not talking about death and human casualty, stuff like that. I was really just pointing out a comment, a statistic, that this is why you will see other countries moving to a more war industrial model. Germany's already started moving there because their GDP and their industry, heavy industry, was hit so hard via the Russian sanctions, not importing the energy, etc. So this is why I think we'll probably see more. I don't know how many. It's going to be staggered, no doubt, but we could see more countries moving to a warlike economy in the future, or even just a smaller amount increasing their GDP via war and building tanks and planes and bombs and weapons and these sort of things. So this is what's happened, and why they've been removing Russia from the rankings is because their GDP has grown in 2023 by 3.6%. I mean, that is big when you look at, I wonder if we can actually get trading. No, I won't try and do this on a live stream because I don't know if I'm going to get it all to work, but they are actually one of the top. I think they might even be the top at the moment in terms of their GDP. And this is why they've been classified as a high income country by the World Bank. So again, this is them saying it, it's not me. Russia's economy has defied the sanctions in the 2 years since Moscow invaded Ukraine in Feb 2022. So much so that the World Bank is now classifying Russia as a high-income country. Economic activity in Russia was influenced by a large increase in, here it is, military-related activity. The World Bank's upgrade confirms reports from Russia that suggest the growth is primarily driven by wartime activities that generate demand for military goods and services, making some sectors winners in Russia's wartime economy. Here it is. Russia's trade jumped by nearly 7% last year, while activities in the financial sector and construction grew by 6.6% and 3.6%. That is a lot, ladies and gentlemen, in this world where everyone's chasing growth. This boosted Russia's real GDP by 3.6. That's adjusted for inflation, by the way, boosted by 3.6. We've also got Belarus. By the way, sometimes people say, what is this Tyler Durden, Neil? This is a news outlet called Zero Hedge. It was a kind of joke at the start, but it sort of stuck. Yes, that is from the movie Fight Club. So if you ever see that, that's what it is. So this is what they've just published. Belarus joins so-called anti-NATO SCO. It's been a while since I've done a video on the SCO, but that is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It's basically NATO, but on the other side of the world and a lot smaller. But you look now, this has just increased with Iran. In fact, let me start here. So it actually began in 2001, and that was China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. These were the founding members. And then 2017, we had India and we had Pakistan join. So that was really where you saw a lot more military might and clout joining the SCO. And then 2023, Iran joined, and now Belarus has just joined. So is this a huge military alliance? Most people would say no. I would say now that we've got Iran, Belarus, it is actually making it a lot stronger. Look who you've got. You've got China and Russia, huge armies or militaries. You've got India, you've got Pakistan. Again, both very large. I'm not saying they're advanced militaries, but they're large. You have Iran, you have Belarus joining. So there is a lot of movement going on at the moment. Am I concerned by this? No, but it is just something to be aware of. Now, we've also got, this was an interesting one that just came out. Africa and Middle Eastern nations are withdrawing their gold reserves from the USA. And this was quite interesting to read through all of this. Let me just give you a few lines here. In a move reflecting growing concerns over the stability of the American economy, several African and Middle Eastern nations have been withdrawing their gold from the US in recent months. The trend marks a significant shift in global economic dynamics and underscores the increasing skepticism among nations regarding the traditional safe haven status of the US dollar and American financial institutions. So who has been taking their money then? Well, Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, Senegal, Cameroon, Algeria, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. They've all been taking their gold back. And the reason why they said that they've been repatriating their gold is to insulate themselves from potential financial contagion. Obviously, they don't want to say, but that's with what's happened with Russia as well, and secure their wealth within their borders. So we're seeing a lot of gold, and this has had a knock-on effect, actually, because India has just brought 100 tons home as well. And a lot of that, by the way, was not in the US, it was in the London vault. So they repatriated it from the UK. And there was something really interesting here. Where was it? Okay, I'm sure I'll find it in a second. According to a World Gold Council survey in 2023, a substantial share of central banks expressed concern about potential sanctions after the US and other Western countries froze almost half of Russia's 650 billion gold and forex reserves in the wake of its invasion of Ukraine. According to the World Gold Council, 68% of the banks surveyed said they plan to keep their gold reserve within the country's borders. This is This was up 50 from 50% in 2020. So you can see where this has gone. Now, here it is. This is what I wanted to show you. The US Central Bank has also declined to comply with a Freedom of Information Act request about the gold holdings. I mean, you're not allowed to do this. You can't deny a Freedom of Information request, but the Federal Reserve denied the request. And it's not going to be going any further. You know, they said, well, this is an offense. We're going to take it to court. And they said, take it to court. You know, it's not going to go anywhere. Unbelievable, the power of the Fed. It really is. But it wasn't just Russia. In 2019, Poland brought home 100 tons of gold. Hungary and Romania also repatriated some of their gold reserves around the same time. 2017, Germany completed a project returning roughly half of its gold reserves. 2015, Australia brought back the gold reserves, Netherlands and Belgium. Everyone is doing this at the moment, which tells you where we are moving towards. And then here we go. Here's a funny story to end then. Here we go. So we've got some people say it's too much doom and gloom. Let's give you a funny one to end. Roman Baths loses £90,000 after, I thought I could say it without laughing, after switching to a contactless wishing well. Right, you got to hear this. So you've ever seen these wishing wells, hold on, where you throw in a coin, you might throw in a pound coin or something like that. Well, basically what they did, they said, please do not throw coins into the wishing well anymore. Tap the contactless box on your way out or whatever. Who on earth is going to do that? No, the whole point is the fun. Let me tell you the statistics as well. They lost £90,000 in 1 year. So it was 104,000 typically. And now it was just 9,500 in tapping, in tapping it. And this was their excuse. Hold on. They said it took too long to collect the coins. They had to drain the bath. Some of the coins were garbled. They could not be banked. It wasted water. See, you know, carbon, net zero, wasted water, all this other stuff. The reason I find that really funny, surely they could have designed like some sort of a cage, right? And the cage was fit the wishing well, and they lowered it down on a, I know I have too much time on my hands thinking through this stuff. They lowered it down, and then when the coins get thrown in, they all land on the cage, like a fine mesh. And then at the end of the week or whatever, maybe they push a button, they crank a handle, it lifts it up, and maybe it tilts, and it all tilts and all the coins fall out, and it dries. I don't know. But the fact that they said, oh, we had to send divers, and oh, climate, oh, not good, we wasted water and all this. Absolutely ridiculous. That's just an excuse because some idiot came up with this idea. Oh, I know, we won't let people throw coins into a wishing well, which has been done for forever. No, we're going to get them to tap their... Oh, gosh. What a funny way to end the week, hey? Well, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Just a reminder about the program. Please go over and grab it. It's not going to be on sale forever. Once I finish recording, it won't be $199. It's going to be up to $2,000, which is what the price of the courses are throughout the year, as you've seen, apart from Black Friday. But that's the only other time. All right, thanks so much for being online. Hope you enjoyed the last part of the stream, and I will see you on Monday now. Take care. God bless.